Okay, so you want a petition for your spouse, right? This is going to be for people whose spouses entered with a valid visa. Visitor visa, student visa, doesn't matter. I'm just going to give you the forms. There's going to be other videos that explain how to go about doing this. The most important form, first form, is the I-130. The I-130 is the immigrant visa petition that the U.S. citizen files on behalf of his immigrant spouse or her. In this case, I'm going to say the citizen's a male. So he's going to file the I-130. Attached to that is an I-130A, which is what the immigrant spouse has to fill out. The cost for that, it depends if you're going to file it online or with paper. Online is $625. If you're going to file it with paper, which means that you're going to sign it and you're going to mail it into USCIS, that's $675, $50 more. Because you're a U.S. citizen, now your spouse can also file for adjustment of status. Again, this is presuming that she entered with a visa. If she entered without inspection, she cannot file for adjustment in this country. But let's say that she did enter as a tourist many years ago, overstayed. That I-485 costs today, this is in early June 2025, that costs $1,440. That is actually signed by the immigrant and should be completed by the immigrant. The next form that she's going to want is the I-765. That is an application to request work permission. That is also filled out and signed by the immigrant. That's $260. In the past, that I-765 was included with the 485. It is no longer included, so it's a separate thing. The next thing that has to be filled out and completed by the U.S. citizen is the I-864. That's the affidavit of support. You have to show that your immigrant spouse will not become a public charge. And by that we mean she's not going to go on welfare. This I-864 is very important. You have to include transcripts of your taxes for the last 3 years. And also, just so you're aware, this I-864 is a legal binding contract, which means, let's say 4 or 5 years from now, the two of you are on the outs and you've gotten divorced and you don't want to have anything more to do with her, you still must provide for her. If she's not providing for herself, you must provide for her so that she meets a certain level underneath the poverty guidelines. Keep that in mind. What else? The medical. The medical is the I-693. This is another thing that keeps changing back and forth. Check it and double check it. Right now, in June of 2025, you have to send it with the original package. When you send in the I-130 and the I-485 and the I-765, you also send in your medical. A year from now, 6 months from now, that could change, but right now, that's the way it is. The last form is an I-131 advanced parole. That's to permit somebody who needs to travel. While this adjustment is pending, they need to travel back home. It's taking a whole lot longer than adjustment of status is taking, but just to give you a very quick checklist for you, that if you want to file on your own for your spouse, you need the I-130, the I-130A, the I-485, the I-765, and by the way, that I-765, if you're also filing for maybe your spouse has a kid and you want to file for the child as well. Even though the kid's only 6 years old, file for the I-765 for that child, because that's how he gets a social security number, which is also how you can then, refer to him on on your tax returns. You're going to go to a civil surgeon, which you can find a list of those civil surgeons near you on USCIS.gov. You're going to go to a civil surgeon. He's going to do his examination, give you any shots that he thinks that you need, and then you're either going to come back a week from then, or maybe they're going to mail these results to you. Somehow you're going to get a package that's it's this big envelope that's got your name on it. Do not open up those results, okay? Very simple, very easy. Don't open up the results. You should ask the doctor for a copy, because your attorney's going to want to see a copy of your medical results. You should have a copy of your medical results. But if you don't ask for that, you're not getting it. And you can't just open it up and say, well, I'm going to take a photocopy and then I'll just close it up again. You can't do that, okay? It'll be considered fraud. And finally, the I-131 for an advance parole, if you really think it's necessary. Generally speaking, I think it's not. I hope this helped you.